Let's pivot to the other side of the table because Emma James joins us now for MediaWatch, and you're starting us off this evening with a look at this Olympic gymnast in the United States and how she's become this kind of astounding, articulate spokesperson for sexual abuse. Tell us more.
Yes, absolutely. It is Aly Raisman, 23 years old, a six-time Olympic medal winner. But today she was taking a public stance in a very different way to the way that we have seen her in the past. She was acting in her role as victim of sexual abuse by the USA Gymnastics official team doctor Larry Nassar. Now, he was able to abuse people over the course of 3 decades. She gave a very angry victim impact statement in court. Take a listen to just a little bit.
If over these many years just one adult listened and had the courage and character to act, this tragedy could have been avoided. I and so many others would have never, ever met you.
She actually talked for 13 minutes inside that courtroom, often addressing Larry Nassar very directly and also calling out the organisations that she felt had let her down and so many other victims alongside her. Unsurprisingly, people took to Twitter to absolutely sing her praises. Salute to Aly Raisman, says this gentleman. You are a leader of your generation, of our country, of our world. You are unstoppable. We will follow in your footsteps to a much better future. This man saying when Aly Raisman, looking like $1 trillion, stares into scumbag Nassar's soul and says, "You are nothing." Because she did take that opportunity on a number of occasions when she gave evidence here. She did look directly at the man who had abused her and so many of her teammates too. You may remember her as being part of the Fierce Five. They were nicknamed at London 2012. Then they dominated again in Rio 4 years later. And she was actually abused by Nassar during those London Olympics. It is hard to imagine how she could go out in that sort of public arena and still perform the way that she did when that was happening to her behind the scenes. Now, she is one of over 100 who are due to either give evidence or have a statement read out while the judge considers the sentencing for Larry Nassar. However, it's something that the man himself didn't want to happen. He actually wrote a 6-page letter to the judge to say to her that listening to the impact statements was having a detrimental effect on his mental health. We are now into the 4th day of these statements. Unsurprisingly, the judge said it is nothing. This is minor compared to what you put your victims through. And so she paid no heed to that letter, fairly unsurprisingly. The really interesting thing, and why so many people are talking about Aly Raisman tonight, is the fact that she hasn't let USA Gymnastics or the US Olympic Committee off the hook at all. I do hope every single person at USA Gymnastics is terrified of Aly Raisman, as they should be. Now, she talked about the organisation rotting from the inside and also called them out because nobody had come to speak to her or reached out to her when she actually came forward as a victim of abuse. Final word on this, a rather positive one from the judge. You were never the problem, she said to Aly Raisman, but you are so much part of the solution, an unstoppable, strong, loud voice.
What an extraordinary, extraordinary woman. Thank you very much, Emma. Your second story for us on MediaWatch today. In the wake of the French president going to the United Kingdom yesterday, talk of new links, new bridges between the UK and France. Tell us what's going on.
Yes, perhaps a bridge over troubled waters. This is a suggestion that's come from the UK's Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. He is a man who tends to come forward with the odd strange comment, it has to be said, and no one quite knows whether this is one that he thought about beforehand or it was a random comment. This is what the image he tweeted late last night of him smiling and thumbs aloft alongside the French president there, looking like they're getting on famously. But what everyone's reporting today is their late-night conversation about building a possible bridge between the two countries, because according to Boris Johnson, it is ridiculous that the countries are linked by a single railway, of course, in the Channel Tunnel. He seems to be forgetting that you can get on a ferry or you can get on an aircraft too. As for the French president's reaction, well, according to the Huffington Post French version, his words in reaction were, "Let's do it." Very unusual for them to actually put those words in English. But lots of other people very sceptical indeed, including this, wondering whether this might be the outcome of a bridge designed or the idea of Boris Johnson. this Twitter user wondering whether or not it's just a 22-mile distraction from Brexit. And also pointing out, this Twitter user, the fact that it is rather bizarre that this is the guy that campaigned so hard to separate us from Europe and take back control of our borders. UK Shipping, though, had a rather more important point to make, that building a huge concrete structure in the middle of the world's busiest shipping lane might come with some challenges. Now, apparently, engineering-wise, they can build a bridge like that, but there are certainly more things than just putting bricks and mortar down that could stop this plan.
OK, Emma, thanks very much. Keep us up to date with any new developments. Thank you, Emma James there with MediaWatch. That is all for us for now, but I'll be back after the break with more headlines, news and analysis from across the globe. So do stay tuned to France 24.